Yeah. So Gargi and I, we are live. Plenty of things to discuss today. First, obviously, the howler from India in Bengaluru. Because the match is on, we'll get Shubhayan and Atreo to join us. Gargi, if you could see when, because the game is still on, I think they are uh, the match is not over yet. Maybe for another some time. That's why they're there. But before that, let's then start with the Delhi Capital story, Gargi, and we can go to the test match once our correspondents join us from Bengaluru. First things first, what is your reaction? I mean, to see what has happened, and let me tell you exactly what is going on. By the way, I was privy to this for some time. There are some stories that you can do. Yesterday night only, if you see, I tweeted. Today, today also, the moment our I the moment our sort of Hindi show ended, immediately the press release came out. Now, what is going on? What is going on is quite funny. That 2 years it will be GMR management, 2 years it will be JSW management. When GMR manages the men's team, JSW will manage the women's team. Pretoria anyway belongs to JSW, Dubai belongs to GMR. So it will be Pretoria plus women's team for JSW, Dubai plus men's team for GMR for 2 years. Sourav Ganguly obviously will be sidelined for the first 2 years. Make no mistake. Now, your so my five questions in this: will there be loyalty? Who will the players or anyone for that matter be loyal to? If there are two power centers, if there is a Venugopal Rao and Hemang Badani, and if there is a Ganguly, so who is the player loyal to? Who will he listen to? If there is a GMR and a JSW, who will the players be loyal to? What happens to the auction? That is another big thing. What happens to the auction? When they say that we will work the auction together, I'll give you all these answers, by the way. These are important questions. I want your this thing, and then I'll obviously answer every possible question and give you the inside story. The thing is, how did it come to this? And why did it come to this? Why is it that JSW has to issue a press release, another press release clarifying, then there is a press release from Delhi Capitals with all these details? Why did it come to this kind of complete muddle? So when you see this, Gargi, two different power centers, 2 years, 2 years, it has never happened before. What is your first thought? Does this look to be workable, or is this a complete puzzle now when nobody really knows what will happen?
It's definitely a puzzle because when you think of it, from a sport perspective, it's still very difficult to difficult a difficult idea to grasp, right? Like you talked about loyalty. Who will the players be loyal to? What happens in the auction, I think, is the biggest question here, because maybe GMR people want something else, and maybe JSW wants something else. How do you make that work? Right, how do you come to one single decision? Because that just increases your conflicts, increases internal conflicts. And then at that point, if there are when it comes to the sport, if there are half of the coaching or support staff that is loyal to one side, half of the support staff or playing staff as well is loyal to the other side, how do you work those things out? Those are such big questions. And I think in franchise cricket, at least, it shouldn't happen. It's understandable when you have different owners, like co-owners 50-50 or 20-40, whatever the numbers are. I think that works. But when you're doing this on a rotation basis, it just completely throws out all equations out of the park. Maybe you'll employ certain ideas or certain innovations for that period of time, and then the other person doesn't agree with it and changes it completely for when they're in power. These are very difficult questions.
I absolutely agree with We'll come back to the Delhi Capital story because it's a big story. Let me go to Atreo, to Bangalore. Atreo, what happened? Why did we bat first? I mean, what was the logic behind batting first? And how big a shock was this? What does this mean for the Border Gavaskar Trophy and for the World Test Championship? Does India have any chance of coming back into this game? What is the weather like for the next 3 days? Plenty of questions for you. Thoughts?
Well, we'll go one by one. The first question is border Gavaskar Trophy. So let us not talk about that at the moment. Okay, we'll go to that. Now, second question is World Test Championship final. We all knew that India needed 3 wins and a draw to confirm a place in that WTC final. We None of us actually spoke about the prospect of a defeat. I mean, what happens if India loses the game on the course, on the way? So, which is looming quite large over here at the moment. And weather forecast is weather forecast is not great. I mean, let me come to that again. I mean, forecast is not great, but having said that, even today's forecast was not great. I mean, we were not expecting to have so many overs on the second day of the test match, but we ended up having them. And since the way the India are placed at the moment, I don't think this test match can be saved unless there is a huge, improvement in the batting effort. And coming to the first question, which is the talking point of the day, why does our team elect to bat in these conditions? I mean, I had actually expressed apprehension in the pre-match show after we came to know that India had won the toss and elected to bat in these conditions. And it was a at that point in time, we called it a bold move, and it appears to be now that it was a suicidal move. And the ball did a lot of things. I don't blame the Indian batters actually, and I do not give a lot of credit to the New Zealand bowlers either. Their catching was fantastic, but elected to bat in these conditions was absolutely bizarre call. I mean, bold and bizarre. There is not a there is a thin line in between the two. Bold and bizarre is always a thick line, and Indians cross that line, and they have sort of dug a grave for themselves by electing to bat in those overcast conditions on a pitch which was under covers for a long time, for about 3 4 days. So when that happens, there is a precipitation on the surface. So the pitch doesn't is not supposed to play normally on those in those circumstances, and it didn't. So India had the which is, I mean, India wants to take the toss out of the equation. But today, this toss was very crucial. They won it, and they still handed the advantage to New Zealand on a platter. I mean, nothing else decided it.
And I also thought that some of the dismissals were, not the best ball or the best shot. I mean, it was sort of given away. I mean, maybe not whatever it was not a 46 wicket. Having said that, India has played fantastic cricket on home soil, Gargi, for far too long. So one aberration is par. I mean, it is also that these people are human. They have been playing fantastic cricket for far too long. It's just one test match. There are still two test matches remaining in the series. The assumption was we will not lose anything. I mean, we will not win anything in Australia. That also is wrong because we won two test series in the past. Now, every match, the World Test Championship has meant that every match, it is not just a series. Every match in itself is important. Each match is a series. Even when we go for Border Gavaskar Trophy, even if you lose the series, doesn't matter. Have you won one game? It'll change everything. Have you won two out of the five? It'll change everything. So I don't want to be overtly critical. Yes, it was a howler, bizarre call. Atre is 100% right, but then people are entitled to making mistakes. One mistake after 18 years of dominance or 12 years of dominance on home soil is par. Let us see if India can actually pull off a miracle, because Gautam Gambhir keeps talking about doing that. I mean, can India bowl New Zealand out for a 300 or so and come back and score 500 runs? Because you're actually talking about day three. So you still got that kind of, can India score 400 runs and give a 150 chase in the last innings? We have to see how India fight. Gargi, question for you both. You go first. Is there anything left in this game for India? There is weather. There is still first innings. Can India do something from here on to make a match of this?
Yeah, I think this match is pretty much gone at this point because New Zealand are already leading, and they're going to make a lot of runs. I believe at this point they'll be very confident going forward from this. But like you said, I think this is one of those bizarre matches where things like these just happen. And to be fair, when Rohit Sharma chose to bat first, and the presenter talked to the New Zealand captain, he also said that we would have batted first as well. So clearly, something went wrong here, and mistakes are, like we said, cricket is an unpredictable game. Last time you had India win a test match in 2 days. This time, 46 all out, the lowest total in India, I think, if I'm not wrong. But it makes for endless criticism. There's one comment also here that 46 all out makes for endless criticism, but it's pointless because this match is gone. So get serious for the next two matches and take the series. I think that's perfectly summed up by Hitman here as well. That's my point as well.
Atro, is there anything left in this game for India? Second innings, 400
Yes,
runs. Someone
yes,
bats
there
through
is.
the thing. Can
No,
you
no,
do
there
that?
is, there is, there is. I mean, it's there is. I mean, theoretically and ideologically, there is room for India to salvage something from this one, from this disaster. I mean, how many teams do you think can you think of that bowled out for 46 in home soil after electing back first in a test match? I don't think how many times this has happened in history of Test cricket. I mean, I'm not getting into the sticky wickets of England in the early part of the 20th century. I'm not talking about those days, but in modern cricket, I mean, contemporary cricket, how many times do you think this has happened? But having said that, conditions have eased a little bit. I mean, things have become better for batting, as we saw when New Zealand batted. And well, I mean, it doesn't matter how many runs New Zealand can score from here on. For India, the only objective now should be to bat strong and solid in the second innings so that without thinking of the deficit, how many runs, what kind of a lead they concede, without thinking of that, they just have to bat out. I mean, for as long as they can. I mean, if you remember, before the start of this test match, Gambhir had said that he believes that this team can score 400 in a day if required, and also bat out today for a draw if required. So that's what he said, that it's adaptability. That is what is growth according to his definition, and that is what Test cricket is about. So now it's time for his team to walk that talk. And I mean, if you look at the numbers right now, it's overwhelmingly in favor of New Zealand at the moment, possibility of winning this test match. But for India, it's not over yet because test cricket gives you that second chance. If you can bat well in the second innings, there are just uh, 3 more days to go, and well, a solid second innings can still salvage India something. If not a draw, if not a win, some pride at least, and they should go for that.
Interesting. So Atreyu and Gargi both actually think that there is something that can be salvaged. As we speak, it's still 178 for 3 for New Zealand. Final question to you, Gargi and Atreyu, before we end the match segment. Gargi, uh, I don't think Rishabh Pant's injury was that serious. I thought it was more, precautionary that he went off because they don't want to take a chance with him and all of that. But when I accept that, I mean, that is one talking point. Some of the shots, take the KL Rahul shot again. I mean, I keep coming back to KL Rahul because somewhere I think he keeps baffling me. Atreyu, you go first. Do you feel the same sense of frustration with the KL Rahul more and more?
See, especially looking at the previous delivery, where Rahul almost played it to that leg slip position. He was almost caught in the leg slip position just before that ball. Then again to fish outside leg stump. We have heard about fishing outside off stump, but to fish outside leg stump on that kind of a pitch when you are not sure about you've hardly played a few balls. You don't know how the pitch is behaving. To do that was unbecoming of a batter of Rahul's stature. And also Sarfaraz Khan. Sarfaraz Khan, I don't think he did himself any good by playing that shot. I mean, what was it? I mean, again, I mean, ball was stopping a bit. India had just lost two wickets, and that shot was not on. Probably, and also Rohit Sharma. I mean, we all have seen that in one day cricket and T20 cricket, Rohit Sharma is very keen on giving the team a head start by being aggressive early on. They tried to do the same when the pitch was doing a lot, when the ball was jagging around. It was shot making was not easy. So I thought his shot was also not very prudent, and neither was Sarfaraz's, and Rahul was obviously not. So other than the good bowling by the New Zealanders, the pitch assisting them tremendously, and some very sharp catching, Indian batters also did their cause no good by playing some loose shots, at least three of them, a little more. So, it is a combination of a lot of factors which has led to this 46 all out, unprecedented completely on Indian soil. And yeah, I mean, these are the lessons that they have learned. And as you said, Buria, earlier, that one bad day, okay, let's take it that way. It's one bad day, but one bad day of what? I mean, bad decision making on so many fronts, starting from the start.
Yeah, correct.
So
But at
that's a
this
bit of a worry.
now
Yeah,
Athro, it's quite okay in terms of weather, right? I mean, there are blue skies, and what is the prediction for the next 3 days? What is the weather
see,
prediction for the next 3 days?
see, the prediction has rain for the next 3 days. It's not percentage is not very high. It's around 30%, 40%, 50% for the next 3 days. But well, you don't know now. You don't know that now. The prediction. I mean, today nobody thought that we will end up having so much of play when the play started. When Gargi myself we were discussing in the pre-match show, it was very gloomy. And despite that, the sun came out. Actually, prediction today was of rain in the second half of the day after 2 p.m. That didn't happen at all. In fact, the things cleared up after that. So prediction still has rain for the next 3 days, but I mean, India, for India, they can pray for rain, but well, I mean, let's not get into predictions anymore. I mean, we have had a lot of those over the last few days. Now it's time to play and perform. So whatever it is, they have to do. They have to face and they have to perform accordingly.
Okay. I'll let Athro go there. I'll let Athro go because he has to file his copy at the end of the day. 180 for three, perhaps the last few overs of the day remaining. Athro, thank you for joining us. And hopefully, we will get some better cricket from India tomorrow. Better cricket from India tomorrow. Uh, you know, thank you. Thank you very much for joining me. Gargi, coming back to the Delhi Capital story. Yes, you and I were chatting about it. And, you know, when I think of the larger picture of a franchise, and this is what I want to tell you now, from what I know, and we will obviously give you the inside story, give our viewers the inside story. From what I know, there will be 8 people sitting at the auction because that is one question you asked or you mentioned. There will be 8 people who will be sitting at the auction, 5 from GMR, 3 from JSW. 5 from GMR, 3 from JSW is what people will sit at the auction. And if there is a stalemate, suppose there is a stalemate over Gargi Rao. So if there is a stalemate, then the chairman, in this case, the chairman for the first 2 years is Kiran Gandhi. Kiran's call will be final. That is the auction plan. But can that be? I mean, there will be a Sourav Ganguly, there will be a Venugopal Rao, there will be a Hemang Badani. Who has the final call? Will they go with Ganguly? Will they go with them? If there is a stalemate, Kiran takes the call. Is this a workable strategy according to you?
I mean, if that's the case, if the chairperson gets a veto, then that also leaves a lot of space for let's say accusations of favoritism or taking sides or whatever, because it can happen. not that I'm saying that the chairperson will do that, but you can, the other person can say that, oh, because you support them more, you took that decision or something like that. So it just leaves a lot of space for error. And what I'm thinking about is, yes, the chairperson gets a veto in this case, but will it be the right decision? What if what if the one group have made the right decision and the other gets the vote? What do you do then? It just leaves a lot of space for error, and it's just confusing at this point. At this point, if they can work it out and make a good strategy out of this, then applause for them. But I don't think this is a workable condition, and it just
So
complicates everything
suppose
twice.
if I am Venugopal Rao, so what are you telling me? That even if I do well, if I don't do well, at the end of 2 years, I'm done. I'm a Ganguly. You're telling me that even if I come up with I'm Sourav Ganguly, by the way. I'm that kind of aura that I don't have a call. Hemang Badani and Venugopal Rao will take the call. You can't see, but you're part of the setup. Are you being respectful towards me? What I mean, can such a situation, and 2 years go in a jiffy? 5 months later, the season is almost there. There is a mega auction. Now tell me this: when the JSW turn comes 2 years later, this is actually a team where there were five people from GMR, and GMR had the vote in the auction. So is it the best team that they've put together? I mean, honestly, I'm extremely troubled that how JSW and GMR can make this work. I honestly don't know. I mean, in a corporate, when I was told last night at 1 a.m., when I tweeted at midnight, I had an idea. I knew what was going on. I kept talking till 2 a.m. I didn't believe it. And hence I took my time. Should I go ahead and do the story? Should I go ahead and do the show? And then when I was convinced, yes, it's on, I went ahead and did the show and they put out the press release. But even now, I am not convinced this is working. I think this is the result of discord, result of governance structures breaking down, result of internal kind of not agreeing to certain plans whereby the two owners are trying to kind of salvage the situation. That's what I think. What is your thought?
No, I agree. It makes everything so complicated. And I actually had a question for you. At this point, if there's a Sourav Ganguly at the helm, it's his turn to take the lead. They get two trophies in a row. What happens then? Do they still change it? What happens then?
I don't know. I mean, or suppose the first season is a howler, then does pressure mount on this setup big time? You're absolutely right. Suppose two seasons in a row, will they still change it and go with the JSW kind of setup, or will they retain the GMR setup? You don't know. You don't know.
You
By the way,
can
the
never
game is
predict
called
with these.
done for the day. It's 180 for three, just so people know.
I mean, you just can't figure out with things like these, and it just makes everything so difficult. Because when you have one person at the top, if you like him, well, that's great. If you don't, you still have to respect that person. But now that you have two choices, it can complicate things within the team as well, be it players, be it the coaching staff, the corporate staff, whatever it is, because they'll have to rotate, right? And what does that mean for the other staff as well? Can it mean that when it's their turn, they can fire anyone and then get their people in? You know, does, will that happen? Boy, what do you think?
Yeah, and as I said, they've announced Hemang Badani and Venugopal Rao as director of cricket and head coach. Uh, this is basically the 2 years. It came exactly an hour back, which is what we had said. I think there must have been a tweet from JSW Sports on Ganguly. I mean, must have been, because that's what I was told. That yes, 2 hours back, Dada takes charge, director of cricket at JSW Sports. Crazy. This is a
Another
giveaway.
question that I had for you here was, do you think that DC have, sort of, kill their own chances? Because do you think high profile coaches will not want to work with them anymore?
Very fair call. Because clearly I don't have a job security there. I don't. Because now think about it. JSW has made Sourav Ganguly director of cricket. GMR has made Venugopal Rao director of the Delhi Capitals IPL team. What does that tell you? Contrasting thinking. However much they come and tell you that, oh, you know what, we are in sync. What do you mean you're in sync? JSW, which owns 50%, has made Sourav Ganguly director of cricket. Delhi Capitals has announced for 2 years Venugopal Rao as director of cricket. Where is the thought process, boss? Mentors to be, it's already there. It's already there. Ayush Jindal, I'll join at 6 p.m. because I'll give the inside story on both English and Hindi. That's why I'm not repeating myself, because at 6 p.m., Shubhan, Gargi, Rohit, and me will give you the inside story how it happened. That is like it's a Bollywood thriller. How it came to this is a Bollywood thriller. Brilliant. I will give you all the lowdown. That's why and I hope you have seen the show in the morning. Everything that we said, within 1 minute, they corroborated it. Within 1 minute, somebody called me and told me, were they listening to your show or what? Because the press release came out within 1 minute of your show getting over. So it was one of those days. But I must take this question. Somebody said Molina interview was good, but there are some facts which, yeah, RJ, Molina interview was good. Some facts stated in the interview was wrong and might hurt the sentiments of a Mohan faithful. I've tweeted already. Not some facts, the one fact that you're pointing out, RJ, and state the fact that I've said 2016 he won the ISL with Mohan Bagan. By firstly, make no mistake, it was an inadvertent error, and I've said that. I've tweeted that. But why did I say it? For me, ATK is no longer there. So because ATK got merged into Mohan Bagan, ATK merged into Mohan Bagan, and Molina had coached in 2016, I said Mohan Bagan. Nothing more. Any kind of, don't try and read any kind of conspiracy in this, because there is nothing. It was an inadvertent error, which I've already tweeted 3 hours back, saying enjoy the interview. It is the only interview you will get, and it's a deep dive into the mind of the coach. The reason I said, because in my schema, ATK doesn't exist. ATK merged into Mohan Bagan, and Mohan Bagan is the entity, and that is why I said it. But it was an inadvertent error. Make no mistake, it point mentioned, I tweeted 3 hours back. That is the explanation. I don't think there was anything else that could have hurt anybody, and it was not meant to hurt anyone. So that is the point. And I think it was an excellent interview where the coach opened up. So kindly watch the interview in that spirit. And as I said, it was an inadvertent error. Chapter closed from my end. It was not meant to hurt anyone, because ultimately I am a Mohan Bagan fan myself. So I hope you understand. Matter over. Somebody asks me about Nituda's interview. Incredible interview with Nituda. Incredible. If Mohan Bagan, we did Molina, we had to do a big East Bengal interview. And for the first time, Nituda talks about the Anwar issue in detail. He talks about whether Oscar Bruzon will be present for the derby in 48 hours from now. He talks about fan pressure. He talks about what a derby means. We will play it. Watch the 7 p.m. derby special today, and then tomorrow we will put out all the interviews for sure. So the derby build up, we've done Jose Molina, and by the way, the interview is viral on Twitter. You can go and check. Absolutely viral. So delighted for that. But it was from that perspective, we had to do a big East Bengal interview as well, which we've done for today. So that's Nitudaর interview কালকে বরিয়াদা absolutely আজকে সন্ধ্যাবেলা 7টার সময় দেখবেন Young Monk, and then again all day tomorrow. Let's take a couple of questions and let's go with Gargi. Ayush Jindal, was GMR waiting for your Hindi show for the press release? It was done within 2 minutes of your show ended. Gargi, take that. What do I say? But it was good to get the news right.
I mean, it was like divine intervention. Not really, but but the timing was spot on.
But honestly, you know what? I was told. Now this, because Ayush asked, I'll tell you this. I was told the press release was to come out on Friday. That's why I did the story today. I could have done it yesterday. I was told the press release would come out Friday. That is why I was focusing on shooting yesterday, which is why you were there. So I was waiting that Friday. So we'll go with it on Thursday. The moment, and I just went with it knowing that it is coming out on Friday. I was actually surprised when the press release was issued within 2 minutes of our show ending. So it could well be because we had put everything out there and we had put all facts. We had given out all facts on the show. Maybe they actually changed the timing of the press release.
Yeah.
Abhishek Sindhwani, future of RP in DC. What? Oh, good question. Gargi, do you think Rishabh Pant will now be comfortable?
I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. I mean, does he have an answer to that? Because how do you function under that? One person is telling you something, one person is telling you something, and you can't disrespect any of them, either of those two teams, because at one point they're going to be a boss. So this is such a difficult. I mean, when you put yourself under,
Two
yeah,
months back, there was some discord about Rishabh Pant also. Now it's sorted. Now it's sorted, and there is consensus that Rishabh Pant, Akshar Patel, and Kuldeep Yadav will be retained with Jake Fraser McGurk and what is that other fellow? Tristan Stubbs. Tristan Stubbs. These two chaps will go under RTN or they will try with RTN. By the way, let me say this also. I've seen a document, Gargi. I'll end the show with this. I've seen a document which now shows or says that Lucknow Super Giants has played 44 matches. KL Rahul has played a telling hand in 7 of them. He has made a winning contribution in 3 of them out of 44 games. He has missed some due to injury. And there is a document which shows that because of the slow run rate and striking rate and all that, 11 games they had an adverse result. And out of the 3, the telling contributions, it was Brabant Stadium season 1 200s. From what I know, and I've seen the document, I can now tell you KL Rahul will not be retained by the Lucknow franchise. And I'm saying it on the show. 99.99% KL Rahul will not be retained by the Lucknow franchise. Karvi, thoughts?
yeah. I think that was coming. Uh, we all expected it after everything that happened, those videos, the way everything was panning out. I think this was in the cards. More questions. KKR retentions update. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. Kishore Creations. Why India always fall in swinging overseas conditions from Dhoni since Dhoni time? Is it lack of county practice in England?
I don't think this is entirely right because in the 2021 England series under Kohli we did very well in swinging conditions. We were 2-1 up during that COVID period when the series got the last test match got stalled. So it is not entirely right, but yes, if they against the moving ball, which team plays well against the moving ball? Tell me. I don't think any team in the current this thing world setup plays very well against the moving ball. Priyanshu says people copy us and say, Priyanshu, I want to know this. Who actually said this? That it was their news. Buryada BGT gets bigger and bigger. WTC qualification, I agree. BGT keeps getting bigger and bigger, and not only BGT. Every test match keeps getting bigger and bigger. Suppose you have lost the first 2, doesn't matter. You have to win 1 to add that point. You have to win 2 to be able to add those points. The moment you win 1, you win 2 out of 5 in Australia, you are through. So every test match, independent of each other, whether you win the series or not win the series, of the Border Gavaskar Trophy becomes massively important. Massively. So each of the 5 test matches are an end in themselves, Gargi. Each test match is that much important for the Border Gavaskar Trophy. It is not simply about the series anymore. Priyanshu says after Boryada will tell the true news, everyone copies and act as if they knew it all. Who is this one who says who knew it all? I mean, I didn't see anyone telling the Delhi Capital story before we did at Rev Sports. And if someone did, good for them. Our job is not to care what others do. Our job is to do what we want to do. Simple. And I'm telling you now, Priyanshu, that at 6 p.m. in 25 minutes from now, I'm going to give out the inside story, how it happened. If anybody knows it, give it out. I'm telling them, anyone knows it, give it out. And you can hear it at 6 p.m. from me. And then after that, you will tell me whether anybody else had put it out or not. I'm challenging. If they know it, put it out. 25 minutes lead time. In 25 minutes, I'll give it out. Shall we finish it now, Gargi, on this note?
Yes, I think so. We've taken as many questions as we could
He
as
says
well.
now people will copy KL News. They can do anything they want. Who cares?
But
By the way,
yeah,
you want some Mumbai news? Hardik will captain Mumbai. Chalo. Hardik will captain Mumbai in 2025. That's what I know. Hardik will captain, all five will be retained. Rohit will be retained, Jasprit will be retained, Hardik will be retained, Surya will be retained, Tilak will be retained. And Hardik will captain Mumbai. Let me tell you that. At this point in time, that's what I know.
absolutely. And I think with that we can end the show. Yes, Bhuria sir.
Yes, and what is this? তার ওপরের কমেন্টের উত্তর দিও মানে অরুণয় দেবরয় কি কমেন্ট ভাই আরসিবি 49 অল আউট ইন্ডিয়া অল দ্যাট ইজ ননসেন্স কি
মানে
বলিয়া দা আই লিগের আইএসএল এর কি একসাথে খেলা যায় আই লিগ আর না যায় না আই লিগ আর আইএসএল একসাথে খেলা যায় না
okay, well, I think that's the end of our show.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll be back at 6 on the Hindi channel as well. So do join us there as well. I think it's going simultaneously on Hindi and English. Yeah. So we'll be back. We'll be back at 6. Only 24 minutes to go. So we'll be back. Thank you so much and stay tuned to Rev Sports.